Welcome to the Glow Up Girl podcast, the show where purpose meets inspiration. Each week, I sit down with incredible guests who open up about their real life journeys, the wins, the setbacks, and the lessons in between. Whether you're navigating personal growth, career moves, or entrepreneurship, you're in the right place. I'm Kyra Mitchell Lewis, your host, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's glow up together. All right, happy Thursday. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope this week is being good to you. All right, let's dive in. Okay, what are we talking about today? All right, we are talking about what we are calling the consistency code, coming back to yourself without starting over. And my guest today will be Courtney Townley. She has been helping women take better care of themselves with more consistency and ease for the past 20 years. She is a level 2 certified nutrition coach with the National Strength and Conditioning Association and a certified life coach through the Life Coach School. Courtney is the host of the highly rated Grace and Grit podcast and the author of The Consistency Code, where she helps women expand the definition of health far beyond diet and exercise to live more powerful, purposeful, and impactful lives. So why don't we grab a Courtney and bring her into the conversation? All right, welcome back, and let's welcome Courtney to the show. Welcome, Courtney.
Well, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes. Well, why don't we get started by having you tell our audience listening or watching who you are and what you do?
Sure. So my name is Courtney Townley, and I think what best describes me at this stage of my career is I'm really a women's self-leadership coach, and I specialize in the health arena. So I work with a lot of women who are trying to improve their health. They've tried all the things. They're beating their head against that brick wall, and they just know there must be an easier and more grace-filled way. And I like to think that I offer them that.
Yes, I love it. All right. Well, let's start. So you talk about how true glow ups are not built through extreme discipline or constant restarts. What
Yeah.
is the more sustainable approach that you teach women instead?
Yeah. So I think in health and wellness, especially, we hear a lot about discipline, right? It's just about being more
Hmm.
disciplined.
Yeah.
And I've done that approach. I taught that approach. I have been all in with that approach. And what I have ultimately learned over the course of my career is that it's really about devotion. Like if you really want sustainable, deep health, it's a
Mhm.
practice of devotion, not discipline, right? Because
Mhm.
discipline for a lot of people can feel forced. It's like this very rigid protocol. No matter what
Mhm.
else is going on in your life, you must get up at 5 a.m. and do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Where devotion is more of I'm devoted to my self care. I'm devoted to taking care of myself so I can show up for all of the things in my
Mhm.
life, but also with the firm understanding that that's not always going to look the same because I
Mhm.
don't always have the same resources on board. And
Mhm.
life is this very intricate web of transformations.
Mhm.
Sometimes we become mothers. I know not everybody does, but a lot of women become mothers. We're all going to go through menopause in some form or another. And if we are so attached to how we take care of ourselves that we're not allowing ourselves to be flexible within those transitions, we
Mhm.
will unnecessarily suffer. And nobody wants that.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that I think the key word always is sustainable, right?
Yeah.
Because if see, when you were talking, I felt I was guilty because I was guilty and I was like, I'm just going to admit my guilt because I always say this thing to my husband about like discipline,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because we always talk about like working out and I'm like, okay, I have to at least work out like 4 to 5 times a week. And I am willing to get up early
Yeah.
because I
Sure.
feel like my days go better. Like my Mondays, my week is better when I start off Monday with my workout. And that works for me. And I always he's like, "Yeah, but, like, I'm not, like, a morning person like you, so then it's like, then can't you do it in the evenings?" I was like, "Well, for you, I'd be willing to do it twice, but I
Yeah.
still have to keep, like, my routine because this is what works for me." But I always am like and then, of course, like, he'll do it for, like, a certain number of days, and then he'll stop.
Yeah.
And I was like, "You just don't have any discipline. You're not disciplined." And so then I felt really bad just then because I was like, yeah, I mean, it probably does feel forced for him because it's not like a natural thing that he wants to be devoted to doing.
Right, it's like a have to, right?
Yes.
And I don't, like, personally have a beef with the word discipline. It's just that I know a lot of women that I've worked with over the years. It's like the more I talk about discipline, the more I can feel them just kind of backing up because it's like they just don't wanna feel that it's this forced thing, and
Mhm.
for some people, the word discipline works, and I just, at this stage of my life, really love the word devotion because I'm like, "Man, if I'm devoted to something, I'm gonna keep showing up." You know, no matter
Yes.
what the weather is, no matter how
Mhm.
I feel that day, I'm gonna show up in some way, shape, or form. It's kind of getting me out of that all or nothing thinking.
Mhm.
Um, and to your point earlier too about like the whole restarting, because I think that's something a lot of women get in the
Mhm.
pattern of. I'm gonna start on
Mhm.
Monday. I'm gonna restart on Monday. I'm gonna start
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
And the reality is we can never start over, right? Like we're
Yeah.
on this journey of life. We can never
Yep.
go back and restart, but we can resume. And I love that word
Oh, yes,
resume.
I love that.
I'm just
Yes.
resuming. That's all I'm
Mhm.
doing is I got
Mhm.
a little lost in the woods or very lost in the woods,
Yes.
and now I'm just resuming. That's it.
Yeah, I like that, and also, like, resuming, like, at any time, because like you
Anytime.
said, so many times people are like, "Oh, I'm gonna start fresh on Monday." Like you said, "I'm gonna
Yeah,
restart on Monday." No,
yeah,
how about just resume tomorrow? Like, I'm just gonna resume tomorrow because I want to. No one said that it was written in stone that in order for it to work out, I have to start on Monday.
yeah. Or even in this moment, right? Because
Yeah.
I always think of health as a direction. Like I know we love to frame it as a destination, but it's not a destination. You don't arrive in this utopia of unicorns and rainbows and stay there forevermore. I wish it worked that way. It doesn't.
Right. Yes. Oh my
So,
god.
but when I think of health as a direction, are
Mhm.
most of my decisions helping me to keep traveling in that direction? And once
Mhm.
in a while, I'm going to make a pretty epic decision or a series of them that gets me traveling in the opposite direction. And in that
Right.
moment, not all is lost. I'm just
Mhm.
one decision away from rerouting myself. That's it.
Yeah.
One decision.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot because you're right though, because I mean so much, especially with our like you said, with our health and wellness, it feels like I'm gonna get to this place, but
Yeah,
really you're just trying to be better every day. Like
every day.
every day. Just be better, be healthy, like that's what you want.
Yeah.
So
And also, I think helping people to understand that like, life is a lot, right? I mean, we have a
mhm,
lot of responsibilities. Our bodies are doing funny things. We're juggling a million things. Our to-do list is a mile long. And
mhm,
so, having some compassion with ourselves within that,
yeah.
yeah, this feels hard. Like, I
Mhm,
understand the simplicity of the things that will make me well. But if I don't have a consistent habit of doing those things, it just
mhm.
feels like more work on top of an already very large pile of work.
Yes, exactly. That is so true. Why, Courtney, do you think women struggle with like that consistency? Is it because of our schedules? Is it like because we don't really have show ourselves that grace? Like, why do we struggle with that consistent, especially with our health and habits related to our health?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of things, obviously, but it's, I would say, like, at the most foundational level, we've been really well conditioned to follow plans and protocols, right? Like,
Mhm.
that is kind of what wellness and health and diet industry has become.
Yeah.
And you know what? There's a time and place for that. Like, for a while, that can be maybe really helpful along your journey.
Mhm.
But I think what a lot of programs fail to teach is skills of self leadership. Like, how do we eventually take ownership
Mm,
for the
mhm.
decisions that we're making around our health, where we're not always having to follow the advice of somebody else?
Right.
And I feel like that that isn't taught because it's not super lucrative, right? To be
Mhm.
teaching
Yeah.
somebody how to take ownership of their own process means
Mhm.
they're not going to keep buying from you ultimately. But that's how I
Mhm.
see my job. I always joke with my clients like my job is to talk myself out of a job. Like I'm going to teach you so well that you're eventually going to like fly away and you're not going to
Mhm.
need me anymore because I
Mhm.
want you to become your own coach.
Yeah.
And so I think that if we did that more often in programs, I think that people would feel like they are able to be consistent with the practices.
Mhm.
Maybe not
Mhm.
to the degree they were when they were doing the 6-week boot camp or whatever it was, but they
Right.
wouldn't be so apt to self-abandoning, right? They wouldn't be so likely to self-abandon if they had more self-leadership skills.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
you look under that umbrella, well, what does self-leadership even mean? And in my brain, it really boils down to 4 skill sets. There's the practice of awareness.
Mhm.
Most women that I work with are living so fast and furious.
Yeah.
They don't know what brings them joy.
Mhm.
They don't know what they would do if they had a whole weekend to themselves. They
Mm.
don't like, right? It's almost like they
Mhm.
have forgotten who they are to some
Right.
degree.
Yep, yep.
They think they know what they're eating, but they don't really know because when we if I ever do a food journal or anything with a client, there's always a lot of, like, light bulbs that go on in their head, like, "Oh, I didn't realize."
Right.
We aren't aware of the thoughts that we're thinking that are running our life. That's pretty
Mhm.
impactful information to know. And so
Mhm.
the practice of awareness involves a lot of things, but it's basically what are you doing every day to stay awake to the truth of your life?
Right. Oh, yeah, I love that.
Rather than just living on autopilot. Then we
Mhm.
have the practice of organization. Like,
Mhm.
it's really easy to say that we want change or that we
Right.
want to be able to show up to exercise every morning at whatever time. But what are you actually doing in your schedule to make that possible? Are you putting yourself to bed at a reasonable time the night before?
Mhm.
Right? Are
That's
you
yeah.
baking in, like, some time in your day where you can, like, even decide what you're gonna do during that exercise session if you're not
Mhm.
following some kinda program? Like, there's a lot of organization pre-deciding that goes
Mhm.
into
Mhm.
having showing up for things easily, being
Right.
consistent.
Mhm.
Where I do most of my coaching, honestly, is the practice of follow through. Like, we can have the best laid plans in the world, we can have all the
Mhm.
awareness in the world, but if
Yep.
you don't show up for any of it, what's the point, right?
Yes.
And
Exactly.
so what I have found, like, in my career is, because I was very in the depths of fat loss for a very long time in my career,
Mhm.
and what I kept seeing happening was that people would reach a goal, and then they would start back down the slippery slope to where they started,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
So, for me, my brain's going, "What am I missing? Like, what am I not teaching? Like, why is this happening?"
Right. Yeah.
And really, there were 3 things I think that I was missing. Like, number 1, I wasn't talking at all about belief systems and self-image work, like how people see themselves.
Mhm.
So that had to happen. I also wasn't teaching people to be with hard things, like hard
Oh,
emotions,
yeah.
like
Mhm.
loneliness,
Yeah.
frustration,
Mhm.
stress, without reaching for things that artificially change their chemistry.
Yeah.
Alcohol, food,
Yeah.
shopping,
Mhm.
Netflix, scrolling on our phones.
Yeah.
And the third thing is just changing the narrative, right? Changing the narrative. Like, are you talking yourself out of the work every day, or are you learning how to talk yourself into the work?
Mhm.
Because those are 2 very different exercises.
Mhm. Yes.
So, those are kind of like the skill sets that fall under the umbrella of
Yeah.
self leadership that I really think is at the root of consistency. If you want to keep showing up for yourself, these are the things that we have to learn.
Yeah, I love those.
Yeah.
Yes, those are
Like,
all
they're
really
so simple, right?
yeah.
But they're also not so easy.
Right, yeah, they sound simple.
They sound simple, right?
Then yes, but there is a dedication that must come, right? A devotion to actually, like you mentioned, to like committing to those things. So what is it? What does it mean to like? Because a lot of what you just mentioned to
Yeah.
me is about like building that self trust,
Mhm.
right? And when we build self trust, how does that ultimately impact our health?
Yeah. Well, I think that self-trust is really the byproduct of keeping promises that you make to
Mm.
yourself.
Mhm.
And I find a lot of women are really good at keeping promises to other people.
Right, right.
But when it
Yeah.
comes to their own care and their own commitments to themselves, those get negotiated, compromised, and rationalized right out of all the time,
Yeah, it's
right? To the
I
point of
don't need
just
to do that now. It's
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
After the kids go back to school, after tax season, after the
Mhm.
holidays, right?
Mhm.
I don't have
Yep,
enough time. I'm
yep.
not an athlete. Like, we're full of the compromising and the rationalizing and the
Yeah.
negotiating.
But for
And
everyone else, yeah.
for everyone else. So, what does that do? Well, it ultimately robs us of our self trust. We don't trust ourselves to do what we
Yes.
said we would do. And
Yeah.
then, unfortunately, what happens, it's so much bigger than health, is we
Mhm.
start to live a smaller and smaller life.
Yes.
Because without self-trust, we'll never really amplify self-confidence. And without self-confidence, we're never going to go out and live and go after the things that we really want for our life because they're probably big and scary. And
Mhm.
we need confidence to bolster us to do those things.
Yes.
So I think that, and I always talk about health, like deep health is because, there's surface level health, which is just like,
Mhm.
to me, it's like how you look, where
Yeah, yeah.
deep health, I always call it like cell to soul health. Like,
Mm,
do you
mhm.
have integrity in your cells and do you have integrity in your soul?
Yes.
Because if you have those two things, you're going to be pretty damn healthy.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I like that. That's really good, Courtney. Courtney's dropping the nuggets. I like it. Um, let's see. Let's talk about another side of that, right? Being consistent without falling into the two traps that are easy for us to fall into: burnout and perfectionism.
Yeah. Yeah, these are, everyone is familiar with those two things, right? To some
Yeah,
degree.
yeah.
I always call myself a recovering perfectionist and burnout. Like we've all tasted that. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of that comes from a lifetime of trying to prove our worth rather than owning our worth.
Mhm.
Those are two very different things. Proving your worth is always shoulding, like I should do this.
Mhm.
I have to do this. It's always trying to get the attention or the approval of other people.
Right.
We're never good enough. Our work is never good enough. And so that's where the perfectionism comes in. And ultimately, where does that land us? In a full frontal face plant
Yep.
because we get burnt out.
Mhm.
Right? And we
Mhm.
just totally retreat from everything, and then it takes sometimes months or years to get back on our feet before we're,
Mhm.
ready to start again or
Yep.
resume.
Yes, yes.
And so I think that a lot of that comes from acknowledging that your resources, while renewable, they
Mm.
are limited. You only
Mhm.
get so much time, you only get
Mhm.
so much energy, and you only get so much mental bandwidth in a day. And
Right.
if you are spending most of your time on proving your worth,
Mhm.
if you are spending most of your time on things that aren't really that important but keep you very busy,
Mm.
you'll never have time for the things that are important to you.
Right. Yeah.
And
Mm.
so it starts to chip away. I call it integrity pain, right? Integrity pain is the very real internal friction that we all feel when we're living our life out of alignment with what we actually want for our life. And a
Mhm.
lot of that misalignment comes from people pleasing, hustling for our worth, trying to prove our worth.
Mm.
And when we can slowly start to let that go, because it's not an overnight fix, right? It's
Mhm.
just a practice of starting to do more things that
Mhm.
you want to be doing. And that feels scary and it feels uncertain. And you're probably going to make some people uncomfortable.
Mhm.
But once you start doing it, you also start reaping the benefits, and once you taste the benefits, you can't go back,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, "Okay, I like how I feel here. I
Yeah.
don't wanna go back to how I felt over there."
Mhm.
And so to me, that's really a practice of moving into integrity, like what actually makes you feel like a whole human.
Mhm.
And so often the way we're living, it's very, compartmentalized, right? It's very like
Mm.
we've chopped off pieces of ourselves to make
Right.
ourselves acceptable in certain circles.
Yeah. No, I agree. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Then let's see. Then there's the other side of supporting our health when we are stressed or
Yes.
when we are going through transitional seasons of life. What are ways that we can support our health, and not lose our, focus during moments like that?
Yeah. Well, first, I love that you're asking the question because I think the way that a lot of us have been conditioned to go
Mhm.
after health
Mhm.
is eat less, exercise more, right? That's always been the
Yeah.
equation.
Mhm.
And the equation that I teach my clients is radically different, and I think it offers a lot of relief. It's
Okay.
two parts. The first part is we have to keep in mind, let me give you the analogy before I give you the equation.
Okay.
Stress management is health. Like health is stress management. We have to manage the stress in our life to be healthy because
Mhm.
stress is what breaks us down. It's what causes inflammation. Chronic inflammation is what causes disease. So we have to manage stress. Now, if you think about your stress in your life as a bucket, your bucket only has so much space in it.
Right.
So you maybe have stress coming in from work and
Mhm.
stress coming in from some relationships,
Mhm.
stress coming in from not eating well, stress coming in from not moving very much, stress from living in maybe an environment that's not very healthy. Like stress can come in from 1,000 places.
Right. Mhm. Mhm.
What's important is not necessarily where the stress is coming from always, but choosing to reduce any unnecessary stress that you can.
Mm.
So you don't have to start with diet and exercise. You could start by having a conversation at work tomorrow that would help you to come home less stressed, and that would improve your
Right.
health.
Mhm.
You could decide today to set a boundary with a family member that would actually allow you more peace tonight. That would help improve your health.
Mhm.
So, as long as we're lowering the amount of stress that's in the bucket, we are
Right.
moving in the direction of health.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here's the other thing to keep in mind:
Mhm.
the integrity of our bucket is also going to start to have some challenges as we age. So, if any of your listeners are in the sort of perimenopausal, menopausal years, even if you're in, like, let's just say postpartum, like you just had a baby,
Mhm.
our bucket does not have the reserves that it once did.
Right.
Menopause because we're losing hormones, postpartum because we just gave birth to a human, right? So they're for different
Mhm.
reasons. But we have to remember during transition, our body is usually under a tremendous amount of stress.
Right.
So we need to be doing things that will fortify the bucket. So
Mhm.
this means we have to lean into certain stressors on purpose. What the heck does that look like? Well, it looks like
Yes.
maybe putting yourself to bed half an hour or an hour earlier. That can feel stressful for a lot of people because we want to
Mhm.
spend time with our family and we want to have me time and we want to, right? So to put ourselves to
Mhm.
bed earlier can feel stressful. Starting to exercise. It could be just walking, it could be strength training. I don't know what your pick your poison, pick your exercise
Mhm.
form, but we know that exercise helps to make the human body really resilient. That's going to
Mhm.
help strengthen our bucket. We know that food that the body recognizes as food is going to help to make us more resilient.
Mhm.
And so it's about reducing the amount of stress in the bucket, removing unnecessary stress. And
Mhm.
it's also about fortifying the bucket, which means we are choosing to lean into certain on purpose stressors. It's both of those things,
Mhm.
not one or
Yeah.
the other.
Okay, I like that, but
Yeah.
I think that's really good, because I think a lot of people don't think about that, right? When you're just, it's like, oh, I'm just stressed, and
Yeah.
you're, yeah, or it's like I'm stressed, or I'm just going through this thing, and like you said, people, you tend to lean into things like eating unhealthy because it's like, well, I'm stressed out, so I'm just gonna eat bad
Yeah.
because
Sure.
because I'm stressed out, and
Well,
like
it
you said,
offers relief very quickly.
yes,
It's
yes,
just that
and
has long-term consequences, unfortunately.
for sure. And I think too, like I'm glad you talked about like the postpartum and
Yeah.
also like perimenopause, menopause, because I was like, perimenopause is actually no joke. Like
No
I
joke.
didn't quite realize it until, it was happening to me. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, what is going on? I don't like this feeling.
And think about it, because what's happening chemically is you're losing progesterone and estrogen, which actually help to fortify your bucket. They help you to manage cortisol. They help you to manage stress. So when you lose those 2 hormones, of course we feel like we aren't as tolerant as we once were because we're not,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Mentally, emotionally, and
Yeah.
physically.
You got that right. Yeah. I'm like, you know what?
There's a
Just
gift in that too, though,
everybody
by
get
the
out.
way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I definitely think it's like, yes, I think the gift is that like we become more firm in our boundaries, I believe. Like I feel like I'm like, yeah, no, that's not gonna work for me.
Yeah.
It's like an easy no without a lot of discussion now. Like where I used to be like, well, let's keep talking about it till we figure. No, no, no. Like, no, this is the boundary. This is what I've said. You can either, if either works for you or it doesn't. And we're good either way. So
Well, it's
yeah.
almost like when we were younger, we had more margin to play with. Like, we could be
Yeah.
a little indecisive. We could, let people walk over our boundaries because we
Mhm.
still had reserves to be
Yeah.
able to deal with that. But
Yeah.
by the time you roll into midlife, you don't have reserves anymore. So
Yeah.
you have to be decisive, or you're
Mhm.
going down.
Yeah.
Like, it's
This
not
is
going to be
true.
an enjoyable ride.
Exactly. I love it. No, sorry.
Yeah.
All right. So, Courtney, if someone feels like they are constantly, we'll say, resuming
Yeah.
in life, like where should they begin instead?
Yeah. Well, I think that the thing to remember, and I do feel like I remind my clients of this a lot, is that if you look at anyone that you admire, right? They
Hmm.
have a skill set, they have a certain level of success in some area. They did not get there seamlessly, right? They did
Hmm.
not get there by not getting misaligned, by not making mistakes. They failed their way there, right? They kind of stumbled
Yeah.
their way there and they kept learning from the stumbles. And then, of course, then they got to where they are. And really, health and wellness is no different. We aren't
Mhm.
perfect. There is no human on the planet that
Mhm.
lives perfectly, whatever that even means.
Right. Right.
But we set these ideals for ourselves, which, by the way, women listening, check yourself on your standards because sometimes we
Mhm.
set the bar so high we can't possibly reach it.
Exactly.
So maybe the bar needs to be lowered slightly. Um,
Yes.
but once you kind of know your standards, like I am someone who takes care of myself, like that's a statement of identity.
Mhm.
Well, let's just say for the last few nights, I've been eating like a jerk and drinking too much wine. And I
Mhm.
know that I'm not living like someone who's aligned with that statement.
Right.
I need to make a decision to realign myself, right?
Mhm.
Like, what is that anchor for you that helps you to realign? I'll tell you what, one of my anchors, and I think it is for most humans, is sleep. If I get a good night's sleep, I am probably going to wake up tomorrow morning a better decision maker.
Mhm.
But second to that, making a plan for my day tomorrow. When I wake up, I'm going to put a little forethought into my food so I can
Mhm.
feel like I'm back into, eating food that nourishes me.
Right.
That's a really simple decision that I can make. But
Mhm.
I always give the analogy of a campfire.
Mhm.
I live in Montana, so we camp a lot. And it's
Mhm.
a lot of work to build a fire, right? We got to go get the wood, we've got to build the pit, we've got to get the right amount of air into the flame so it like lights and ignites.
Mhm.
And once that fire is built, all I have to do when the flame starts going down is chuck in a log, right?
Mhm.
Super easy. But if I let that fire die all the way down, then I've got so much work ahead of me. This
Right.
is what I see women do with their health. They
Mhm.
make one mistake and then they pull
Mhm.
over on the side of the road and they sit there for 6 months to a year. And then they wonder why it's so hard to get back to resuming. It's like,
Yes.
no, just resume quicker and your flame won't go out.
I'm laughing because like I've done like I was that person
Oh,
at
we all have
one,
done
yeah.
that. Yes.
I mean, because you don't just like fall off like just a little bit. I mean, you go all the way.
All
Like you said,
in.
the car is pulled over, you have parked it, you've kicked your feet up, you're like eating chips in the car while
Right.
everybody else passes you by.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And we tell her we weave a story. We weave a story that I just can't get realigned. It's too hard. Like that self-narrative comes in, and
hmm.
I always say it starts writing this Oscar-nominating script about what a failure you are and how incapable you are, but none of it's
Yes.
true. It's just a script.
Yes. And maybe it was just always maybe it was just meant to be like this for me. I mean, because that's the one I remember like telling myself when I was just like, no, I just don't want to try to keep like going, starting and doing this over and over and over.
Yeah.
And I was like, and maybe I'm just meant to be like this size. So it's okay.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
like,
this is just who I am is a really big one, right? Like
yeah,
this is just
yes.
who I am. And it's like, well,
Mhm.
who you are is just a practice. So no, it's just what you've been practicing. Let's practice
Exactly.
something else.
So yes, I appreciate that. So you can resume again,
Yeah. It's
but
just, again, think
yeah,
of the campfire. Every time, like, you
yes.
find yourself getting misaligned, am I gonna chuck in a log or am I gonna let that fire die all the way down?
And have to redo everything that comes
Right.
with, like,
Why would you do
making
that to yourself?
I don't know.
No. Too much
Not
work.
me. Yes. I love that. Thank you. All right, Courtney, so tell us about the consistency code for those who are watching. I see
Yeah.
the book behind her.
Yes,
And
I will tell
all
them it.
yes, and then also talk about your podcasts as
Yeah.
well.
So the consistency code launched, it came out in November of last year. And it's interesting because it was a course that I taught for a decade.
Mm,
It's kind of like the gateway to the work that I teach.
mhm,
But it really is all the things we've been talking about on the show today, right? The first part of the book really talks about kind of the lies we've been sold in fitness and
Mhm.
wellness,
Mhm.
because I did a lot of things wrong early in my career, and I had to sort of unlearn a lot of things to do it better. So I talk a lot about that experience. I talk about how behavior change actually works. Like I talk about the science and how it actually works in the brain. So we can kind of let go of some of these thoughts that, so and
Mhm.
so changed overnight. Okay, no, she didn't. Like nobody changes
Exactly.
overnight.
No
Um,
one.
and then I go into the code, which is basically the 4 umbrellas of practices that I told you about earlier, right? The
Mhm.
awareness, the organization, the mindset management, the emotional agility, and then the realignment, which is that last piece we were just talking about. And it's just a really lovely framework for anyone who feels like, I'm so tired of being at war with my process,
Mhm.
right? It's a much more compassionate, kind, and really science-based
Mhm.
explanation of how we can make this more grace-filled and why we should make it more grace-filled, because it's a forever journey. This is never going away.
Right.
Like, you will hopefully be traveling in the direction of health to some degree until you no longer have breath in your lungs.
Mhm.
And so this just it removes the cookie cutter protocol idea, and it really just starts getting you to consider more of a framework that you can work through no matter what your exercise preference or your dietary likes or dislikes. Like, none of that matters in the context
Mhm.
of this book.
Right.
Um, and really, my podcast has been around for 12 years. I think we're 600 and some odd episodes in, which is insane. And it's the same thing. Like, I just figured, writing a book makes sense at this point, because who wants to listen to 600 episodes of a podcast?
Mhm.
Right? Like, that's a lot of episodes to listen to. So I was just trying to consolidate a lot of what I talk about into a much more digestible piece of content.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, the book is out, the podcast still exists, and
Mhm.
I'm still
Awesome.
here. Yeah.
Love it. I love it. All right. How can people connect to you?
Yeah, the best place is probably my website, graceandgrit.com. The book has its own website, theconsistencycode.com, but the 2 websites are linked, so you'll find your way to one
Mhm.
or the other.
Mhm.
And if people wanna read a free chapter of the book, they can go to graceandgrit.com/free chapter, and they will get the first chapter of the book for free, and you can find it on any platform that sells books online.
Yeah, awesome. Fantastic. All right, let's shift into 3 things with Courtney. Gonna
Okay.
ask you 3 questions that just helps our audience get to know you even better. The first one is a two-parter, and I can't wait to hear your answer. How do you start and end the day?
Yeah, well, it might be a disappointing answer, but my starting of the day, I don't just like coffee, I
Mhm.
love my coffee.
Okay.
But I
Okay.
also recognized that I was drinking a lot of coffee without ever even tasting it, because I was kind of using it more as a crutch than I was
Mhm.
as something to really enjoy. So, coffee is a non-negotiable for me. I have it every morning, and
Mhm.
I get up, wash my face, and then I go start the coffee, and I sit with my coffee. Like, my coffee and I have a date together,
Uh-huh.
so I can fully enjoy
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
because I'm a real big believer that how you start your day is how you'll live your day.
Exactly. I agree.
And I wanna start my day with intention. So if I'm gonna drink coffee, I wanna be intentional, I wanna enjoy it, I wanna taste it and savor it, because that's kinda how I wanna live my day.
Mhm.
So it seems like a simple thing, but it becomes something bigger for me.
Right.
And the end of the day, the thing that I am always coming back to, because believe me, I pull away from it sometimes, and then I always realize why
Mm.
it's so impactful for me, is just taking like 5 or 10 minutes to
Mhm.
consider tomorrow.
Yes.
Like, what's on deck?
Mhm.
And how might I need to engineer my time in a way that doesn't make me feel manic and feeling like I'm just all over the place with my schedule, or feeling like I'm dashing from one thing to another.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I feel like ever since I've been doing that, again, my days just feel more peaceful, right?
Mhm.
Because I've already considered a lot of things in advance. And
Right.
so I really just get to show up and live the day instead of having to also micromanage my day, which I don't wanna have
Mhm.
to do.
Yeah,
So, yeah, that's how I start and
I
finish.
like it. I like it. The second question is what's a current goal or intention that you're focused on?
Yeah, I've been talking about this a lot with my own community, which is This year, like I've always been a fan of pausing, like, we should pause before we
Mhm.
respond because we make better decisions.
Yeah.
But my challenge to myself this year was like really allowing extended pauses. And
Mhm.
what I mean by that, and you'll relate to this, like sometimes if your client load starts to drop, we panic, right? And we'll do like a
Mhm.
launch or we'll do something to bring in a lot of new clients.
Mhm.
Or I don't know, like just things in like I'll get an email from somebody and it seems
Mhm.
urgent to them, but it's not urgent to me. And
Right.
years ago, I used to respond right away, but now I'll like sleep on it for a night to make sure I'm
Mhm.
responding in a way that feels good to me.
Mhm.
Um, I'm wrestling with some things with my father's health. And so I'm just giving myself that extended pause of not really like, I don't have an immediate goal this year. Like getting the book
Right.
across the finish line was my goal last
Mhm.
year, but
Mhm.
just that extended pausing. And I have to
Yeah.
say that it's been so lovely because
Mhm.
I've learned a lot about how uncomfortable I am with the
Mm.
pause.
Mm.
Right? And an extended
Mhm.
pause is like extra uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But what lives on the other side of it is actually weirdly a lot of peace because I
Mhm.
like how I'm showing up.
Exactly. Yeah. No,
And
I
so
feel you.
it's yeah, the
Yes.
pausing is a big one.
Mhm. I like it. And the third question is, where are you currently finding inspiration?
Where am I currently finding inspiration? I'm going to circle back to again with my dad. So it's interesting, my dad's situation. So his wife was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's in her 50s.
Mm.
She's 85 and she's still alive, but completely offline, right? Like she's bedridden. It's nobody wants that life. But now my
Yeah.
dad is starting to show signs of dementia. And that sounds awful and it is. I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
Mhm.
But as a health professional, it's like igniting this whole fascination with the brain. And
Mhm.
for so many years, and I'm guilty of this, I made my health a vanity metric. Like it was about
Mhm.
how I looked. It was,
Yeah.
really like how people perceived me.
Mhm.
And now that I'm on the edge of 50 and I'm dealing with all this midlife stuff, including taking elder care, more
Mhm.
than ever, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have totally just ignored my brain.
Mhm.
It's one thing that helps us to
Mhm.
do life in every way.
Yeah.
And we've never really made it about the brain.
Right. Yep.
So
No.
that's really inspiring me right now. Like I'm just so hungry for like anything and everything brain related. And
Mhm.
how can we like make that more of a part of our devotion to our own self-care?
Mhm. No, I love that. I love that, and I agree with you. I mean, until you see it happening around you,
Oh,
it is, it's yeah, you don't think about it, but I've had that happen with a few people, close family over the last, few years, and yeah, it definitely changes the way that you think about your own brain, and just yeah, and just showing up and saying like, "I forgive me for, like, just thinking you'd be there always."
it's such a great way to say it. Yeah, it's so true. Like we just totally took it for granted.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
yet it's I heard something yesterday talking about how, our brain doesn't fully form until we're like 28, 29 years old.
Mhm.
But after that, like it's either kind of maintaining itself, growing itself, or it's starting to shrink already.
Yeah.
And we may not feel the effects until we're in our 60s, but
Mhm.
the work is happening in our 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Mm.
Um, and we have so much control over it. We really do. Um, Genetics plays a small role in it, of course, but it's a small
Mhm.
role.
Yeah.
And I think that is such an empowering thing to remember that just because it's in your family, just because it's
Right.
close to you, does not mean
Yeah.
it's your destiny.
Exactly. Yes. I love yeah. Thank you for saying that because that's a
Yeah.
whole nother conversation.
I say that to myself every day. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, Courtney, thank you so much for coming. I've
Thanks for
just really
having me.
enjoyed our conversation, and I do have one last question for you.
Okay.
What are three things you'd like our listeners or viewers to take away from today's conversation?
Okay. I would say one, that health is a direction, not a destination. I think that's really a very empowering thing to remember. The second to that, which is also partnershiped with that, is you're only one decision away from moving back in the direction of health. So if
Yeah.
you feel like you've been abandoning yourself on that front, what's one decision you can make right now? Maybe it's drinking a glass of water. Maybe it's having a snack. Maybe it's taking a nap. But like one thing that you could do to honor your health needs today. You're always one decision away. And that, yeah, at the end of the day, I think that we underestimate how much liking who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do is at the root of health, right? Because I know lots of women who have spent a lot of time, money, and energy reshaping their physiology, and they don't like who they are. They don't like what they do or why they do it, and they're never going to be truly healthy. So it's like we have to focus on that inner landscape as much as like the outer landscape just follows suit. I truly believe that. Like you can tell in someone's eyes if they have a lot of life in their life. So live in a way that puts more life in your life. That's the ultimate goal.
The eyes never lie.
The eyes never lie.
Okay, sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry. I have these moments where it's like a joke for me, and
Yeah, it's great.
all right. Well, thank you so much, Courtney. You can always come back and share with us in the future.
Amazing. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Stay tuned, everyone. All right, welcome back. And let's thank Courtney again for joining the show today. If you'd like to learn more about Courtney and her work, make sure you check out the links in her show note, the links in our show notes. Our show notes. I don't know. This is what happens when I make a joke and I think I'm funny and it just spirals out. All right. So if you'd like to learn more about Glow Up Girl, make sure you visit glowupgirl.com and you can sign up for our newsletter to get more tools and insights for your glow up journey. Also, make sure you check us out on YouTube. We are at Glow Up Girl. So go there, subscribe, like, do all the things. And wherever you're listening, don't forget to rate, review, and share. It helps more people find the show. And if you're on social yourself, sharing any content or our content or content that you think we should see, tag us in so we can amplify you and cheer you on. All right. And remember, at the top of the show, I talked about that free resource. It's called Own Your Story, and it's a free 20-minute reflection guide that I created that will help you to uncover your story, find clarity, and figure out where you want to take it next. So it's 9 prompts. It's totally free. Download it at glowupgirl.com. Look for Own Your Story, and also the link will be in the show notes. And if you're a brand or business looking to partner with this community of women, reach out at hello@glowupgirl.com. All right, my friends, thank you to Courtney again, and thank you to all of you for taking time out of your day. It is greatly appreciated wherever you may be in the world to listen. So I will see y'all next week. So until then, stay focused, fab, and glow up. Take care, everyone.